So the build of my Panther has begun. What I decided to do was start off with that bit, fitting the back panel. I haven't put the external bits on. Okay, so that back panel fitted into there, those bits, but not the actual axle that comes through there, not those two axles. Okay, that's made up this bit. Those bits, because they'll fall inside, are held in place with blue tack for the time being. What I've had to do, so you glue it, slot it down, that'll need a bit of filling, but like this I'll be able to paint the underside behind the wheels. Okay, I've done the gun barrel here. What I've done with the gun barrel, it's in two halves, so I've put the adhesive or the cement down the side and done it, and then I've put pegs right the way along at angles so that it holds it in the right places. Gun turret base, gun turret cupola, I guess. Okay, this escape hatch hinges. Okay, so I've glued those four tiny little bits, and the other bit is free running. The barrel holding bit, okay, that's glued on the inside onto little pegs, and the rest of it you can't actually see, but that'll move round. Okay, so my gun can go up and down. So that's where we are. That's like an hour or so's work. I've done that, done that. Well, there we go. Built up the hull, built up the turret. So the turret, quite a tricky little thing to do. So there's my escape hatch, that moves in and out. Okay, my gun moves up and down. It's quite tight at the moment. The barrel is just being glued in there, so I'm going to do anything. So if I lift that up, see there's a few different parts, so I've had to push stuff together and fiddle about. It's an old mould, so you know, an old one, so it's it just needs a bit of pushing and squeezing and so on here and there. So yeah, so that's that bit done. So that's the main bulk of it. So of course later on I've got the cupola and the gun, the ring, and the main and all that. So yeah, what I'm going to do once I've sprayed is I'll start doing these wheels. Now the wheels is different types of wheels and so on, so that's going to be quite complicated. They're probably going to take a bit of fiddling with to get rid of the bits where they're attached on there. So I've got to use a scalpel and use the sandpaper and so on. Fortunately, there doesn't appear to be a lot of flash on there, so that's going to be a lot of good fun, isn't it? Just, oh yes it is. Not so there we go. So that's the state of play today. I've had a rather an enjoyable time. It's actually really a nice kit. I wouldn't have said that this is a 27-year-old moulding now. I'm so impressed, in fact, that I've ordered a Panzer 4 as well. So with the hull complete and filled slightly in a couple of places, the front seam there and up the top back there, I'm going to give it a little blast of matte 83, the humble colour, down the bottom sides here before I start doing the wheels. Yeah, not a bad plan, I reckon. So, got my airbrush there, got my humble there, just thin it down and start spraying. Right, let's go. Can't really see it going on because the colour is such a good match to the plastic. Oh, I'm happy with that. I've got good coverage, nice coating, nice spray on there. All good, all good. So the original step one is the construction of the rear panel. That's these bits. Little bit of minor flash needing clearing up once I've cut it off, but not too bad. And then we've got the panel there ready to stick it all on. Well, that couldn't be simpler. Locating pegs and holes, perfectly aligned, just goes straight in, slots in beautiful, so I'm happy with that. The wheels are a little bit complicated, so I've got to put this little stopper in there into part of the wheel. This is on my sprocket, and then see there's a little locating pin that's got to go in there. Now this bit is glued to there, but I don't want glue on that because then things won't turn. So let's crack on with that. And there's the sprocket wheels done. Now I am so glad I'm using liquid poly instead of tube glue, because that would be a bloody mess and wouldn't work if I'd been using that. Then got really complicated bits and pieces to do here, so yeah, you got to cut off pins on idler wheels, and oh man. Now if I'm not very much mistaken, that's the wheels in the correct order. It's complicated. There's C this and C that, and then C this and C that. So you got sprocket wheel, then you got C5, then you got C6 and 7, then C4, then C6 and 7, then C4, then C6 and 7, then C6 and C8, oh, and then C3. It's, oh dear. I'm going to try them on and see how it looks. Well, there we go. I think that's right. They'll all spin, so I can paint from the rear as well. So yeah, I'll pop those end caps on, I think. Well, I've got them all on, all threaded together. It's not as daunting as it looks. And now, look, my wheels, they go round. The wheels on the tank go round and round, round and round, round and round. Awesome. So I think what I need to do is get the spray gun out again, go psh, around the back and on the sides of that before I start doing the rest of the model. Well, yes, that's looking good. I've also done the rear panel. See how it's nice and matte now? Ready for me to pick out the detail. So I'm going to let that dry a bit, and then I'll revolve the wheels a little bit more just to make sure I've got excellent coverage. But yeah, very pleased with that. So I decided to do the top side of the hull. That's all painted up now already, all brushed up. So I'm going to hit the turrets. So there we go. The actual construction is now complete. All bar my tow cable and my turret mounted machine gun. Those will be painted before they're attached. I'm not putting the crew in either, so we'll remove them from things. Anyway, all the little accessories and ancillaries have been attached now. You can see how close the colour of the paint is to the colour of the moulding. Okay, got gun barrel holder, you've got hatches, you've got all the accessories and ancillaries, spare track. There we go, it's all good. All good. Now, earlier on, I had to cut a hole to put my front mounted machine gun. I'd taken a bad bit of advice off the internet, which was to do all the attaching after you've put the hull and the deck together. Bad move. I had to cut a hole in the bottom. But generally speaking, I am really happy with that. Now to do a bit more painting. Well, that's the base coat completed. Now I've got to crack on with the camo, so the red brown and the dark green. So this is what you want the airbrush for. So there's the green on top of the yellow. Looks quite good. I'll split the turret from the body because that just locks into position. Quite pleased with that. Now to get the red brown on. Now I don't know about you guys, but that is looking well tasty if you ask me. Especially like the look of the turret. Now when that all dries off, that's going to look fabulous, I reckon. Then it'll be time to pick out the details. So the gun barrel will need a bit of blackening, obviously. The wheels, there's kind of like a greyish black rim around those. Obviously the tools and accessories, but that's looking crackers. Well, let's talk about tracks. They wouldn't be black. These black rubber tracks aren't accurate. So, start off, I'm going to spray a dark grey lightly and a brown lightly. The brown's secondary. German tank tracks straight from the factory would be a sort of reddish brown, manganese oxide kind of thing. Well, that's great. I'm really pleased with that. It's come out really well. The details are all done, so there we go. Even got a little bit of wear on the edge of the spade there. Gunmetal. Done my track links. The spare ones carried on the back. I've put on my cable. The exhaust has got a little bit done. I don't know whether to weather it or not. I'm not putting the cable on the other side, just putting the one toe cable on. There we go. Machine gun at the front as well, so everything's all ready to rock and roll. So next is obviously the decals. I might do a bit of weathering around the wheels. I think one place where you need some weathering is the wheels. I think the front sprocket looks a bit boring, to be honest. So yeah, a little bit of brown sort of mud on there, just light. That could look good. Oh yeah, those wheels look far better, a bit of road dust on them. Not all muddied, and I'm not putting all paint chipping on. I mean, if anyone amongst you has ever seen military vehicles, the paint is laid on that bloody thick. You don't get chipping. Planes might be a bit different, but no, not land vehicles. So that's all kind of nicely dusted over, and I've given a bit of a dusting over to the rest of the tank, and just fitted on the MG34 up the top. Okay, just got to wait for that to dry. And this I'd got the wrong way around, so I've just reversed that down the gun holder. But yeah, I'm really, really pleased with this. Next is the decals. Time for the final touches. So I've got myself a set of micro scale decals here, because I need turret numbers. So in Monte Cassino, at the start of it, they have a Panther tank, which should be this late war camo, and the turret number of 523, 5 company, 2 section, tank 3. Sweet, that's looking good. So put on with warm water and then padded dry, and I've put a bunch of decal fix on so it shrinks down and goes nice. So I'll just take off the surplus with a bit of tissue paper, and then it's going to be a case of light dusting with the airbrush and we will be complete.